Hey, what is up Manila? I'm Ashidal of ManilaShaker.com. Last month, we were going to upload the full review of this device, but since the lockdown was announced before the launch event, all were moved and held online. But here we are with the full review of the Oppo Reno 3 Pro. And before we begin, I want to tell you, if I'm not mistaken, there are 5 variants of the Oppo Reno 3 series. The Reno 3 Vanilla version, Reno 3 Pro, Reno 3 5G, Reno 3 Pro 5G, then the Reno 3 Youth. All are running Android 10.0 and ColorOS 7 on top. The only differences are camera module, camera specs, and their chipset. And in order to support 5G, we need 5G chipsets like Snapdragon 765 and 865. What we have is the Reno 3 and Reno 3 Pro with only a 4G LTE connectivity. It's cheaper and I can say that the performance is better, but not the best among the other Reno 3 variants. And the Reno 3 Pro 5G is way better than the 4, so expect it to have a different specs and features. Reno 3 Pro on the other hand has a dual selfie shooter with 44 megapixel, high spec sheets, 8 gigs of RAM, high megapixel number, 64 main rear, decent powerful processor, feels flagship, but this is a mid-range phone with stunning features that compete with other flagships. So let's go ahead on the review. It has a polycarbonate plastic back texture. It looks like glass and it feels compact. 175 grams is pretty lightweight. We've got the midnight black version instead of a royal blue and sky white. But the back is smooth, chromatic, and sleek, although fingerprint smudges everywhere. In our first impression last month, we mentioned that upon pointing the light source at the back, the chromatic oil slick effect will appear and there is a fixed 3D line that leads straight into the camera module. Pretty cool, unique, and surprising at the same time. The camera module is larger compared to the Reno 3 vanilla version. It houses 4 camera lenses and they put the flash inside. Knowing that it was equipped with great and decent hardware, you cannot deny the fact that it has a plastic back, so you have to be careful not to scratch the surface. Volume buttons on the left side with a dual SIM tray and expandable storage slot. Power button with neon green design. Underneath are the speaker grills, headphone jack, USB Type-C port, and microphone on top and bottom. On the front is a pill-shaped notch housing a 44 megapixel selfie shooter and a 2 megapixel portrait lens. Again, this is the world's first phone having a 44 megapixel dual selfie camera. We'll talk about the front camera later. Let's go ahead to the display first. 6.4-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED display, better and less in power consumption. The screen is protected by Gorilla Glass 5 and 800 nits brightness level. That means brighter screen outdoors and under direct sunlight. It feels premium actually. Seeing a phone with a Super AMOLED display at 1080p resolution is a fun experience. The panel is a 20:9 aspect ratio. Some YouTube videos are still in 16:9, so if you want to enjoy a full screen experience, you have to pinch to feel the screen, but that'll crop the video. Reno 3 Pro has an under-the-display fingerprint sensor and it's pretty fast. But take note, when the phone is idle, the screen is completely off. You will not see this graphic layout on the screen and you will not be able to register your fingerprint. The layout will show up when you lift the phone. I'm sure you will always do that lift motion, so it should appear easily. We wish there is an airwave gesture for an alternative wake-up function. They'll make the phone more versatile. But that's okay because there's a raise to wake feature that is reliable. It also has a face unlock. Combine it to the raise to wake features and you'll get a seamless unlocking experience. There is also animation in the notch when face unlocking is enabled and that looks cool. Moving on to the camera specs, the main rear camera is a 64 megapixel f1.8 wide lens. Bigger aperture means more shallow depth of field, and big megapixel means more detail preservation. The normal shot is binned down to 16 megapixel, but we have an option here to enable the 64 megapixel as seen here in the top left side of the screen. There's also an option to shoot at 108 megapixel, but we'll get to that later. Here's some sample shots. This image is so sharp, eh? Now let's zoom out. This is a part of the 16 megapixel main camera shooter. With decent lighting, natural lighting, and natural colors, the image looks more alive. The colors and exposure are balanced even at direct sunlight. Now switching to the telephoto lens, there is an option to zoom from 2x up to 20 times zoom. 5x zoom is the best quality, but shooting at 10x zoom is still good. Not so sharp, but not the least. Still has an acceptable quality compared to fully optical zoom with no pixel interpolation. You can even shoot macro shots with these zoom lenses. These are the sample shots from ultrawide, 1x, 2x, 5x, and 10x zoom. So even though it doesn't have macro lens, the camera is still flexible. Now the third lens is an 8 megapixel ultrawide. The ultrawide lens have less contrast compared to the main lens, but colors are pretty much the same. The fourth lens is a depth sensor, produces clear and good bokeh effect, thanks to the AI. Now let's switch to the expert mode. There's a special function here which is the Extra HD mode. It'll boost all shots inside the expert mode for up to a massive 108 megapixel photo using a sub-pixel interpolation. But you guys decide which is better. Here's the comparison of 64 megapixel versus 108 megapixel shots of Reno 3 Pro. Moving on to the camera features of the Oppo Reno 3 Pro, it has a night mode and tripod mode. As we expected, it is impressive and obviously you can see light enhancement between these two photos. Switching to the front camera that now has a dual punch hole rather than a pop-up camera like on the Oppo Reno 2. We like how Oppo marketed its phone with its extravagant revolutionary features. It is also Oppo that introduced the first phone with pop-up camera back in mid-2018 with their Oppo Find X. That's a clever step to compete in the market. Right now we're excited what they are going to reveal in the future. So yeah, back to the camera, a 44 megapixel selfie shooter with 2 megapixel depth sensor. Here's some comparison shots with the sun facing in front of me and in shades. It still took good quality selfies with decent skin tones. The photos are more vivid and high dynamic range is pretty good on this phone. Moving on to the video capture, the device can shoot up to 4K at 30 FPS. And there's also an option to choose 1080p at 60 FPS up to 120 FPS slow motion. And what's significant in the video recording is that it has an ultra steady mode. It is so steady when you shake your hands intentionally. Here's a clip from me biking while taking video with ultra steady mode. The AI that processed to stabilize the footage is so noticeable but it is pleasing to the eye compared to the normal video with ultra steady off. It also has a real-time bokeh effect when recording both front and back, thanks to its portrait lens. It's nice to think that you can get these features on a mid-range phone. Now let's see the performance of this device. Oppo Reno 3 Pro is powered by Helio P95 octa-core processor supporting 8GB of RAM and 256GB internal storage. It runs in Android 10.0 on top of ColorOS 7. Let's test some benchmark to see what phones it can beat. So the phone got a good score in Antutu benchmark. Reno 3 Pro supports HDR gaming experience with the help of MediaTek Hyper Engine system. It features a higher refresh rate with low latency gameplay for most 3D games. It is fast and smooth even at best quality settings. All games are running in full HD as well. Asphalt 9 on highest quality, we can say that it is smooth and lag-free. PUBG on the other hand is playable but expect to have a stutter. So the question is, within these high performance specs, does it have a good battery life? For me, that's a tough question since it has 4025 mAh battery capacity. Not the largest, but that's the minimum requirement for a smartphone this day. Playing heavy-duty games will drain your battery much faster compared to regular daily browsing on your social media feeds. Upon testing the device, consistent playing will drain your battery for about 5 hours and using the phone normally will last for a day. But what's good is that the device supports 30 watts VOOC flash charging. You can charge the device from 0 to 100% in less than 1 hour. This phone has a unique characteristic, especially with its camera flexibility and gimbal-like video recording. This thing really feels like a flagship. So yeah, camera versatility, 4000 mAh battery with flash charge is an advantage, plus its Super AMOLED screen. This device will satisfy you in every ways. So the question is, should you buy it? Yes and maybe not. Yes, because it is versatile and premium, with a high number in spec sheets? Maybe not, because there are other 3 variants that is higher than the Reno 3 Pro. There's the Reno 3 5G, Reno 3 Pro 5G, and Reno 3 Youth. They are equipped with the latest chips that lets you experience 5G connectivity. So I hope you guys enjoyed our review on the Oppo Reno 3 Pro. It is now available in the Philippines. You can buy the phone for 28,990 pesos SRP, while the vanilla version is 18,990 pesos. Reno 3 Pro is not a flagship phone but offers some flagship experience. So what you guys think? Let me know what are your thoughts. I'm Ashdal of ManilaShaker.com. Subscribe, like this video. Don't forget to visit ManilaShaker.com for more tech news, reviews, and comparisons of the latest smartphone. And of course, stay home, stay safe.